The enthusiasm around the Harris-Walz re-election campaign has certainly been noticed at the president's campaign rallies, and it is also being shown in polling data. According to a new GSBN poll, the incumbent president's lead has expanded to a 5-point lead nationwide over the Republican nominee Ron DeSantis. All of this is despite the increasing tensions between China and Taiwan, where Chinese war game exercises are expected to begin in just a few days. During the White House press conference held just last week, the Harris administration has made it known that they expect the Chinese to invade Taiwan within a few months. But talks between Chinese officials and American officials are still underway, with Taiwan ceasing communications with the Asian superpower entirely. In the shadow of this seemingly impending conflict, which experts warn could ignite a third world war, the governments of India and Pakistan are still dealing with the fallout from a border skirmish. As of this moment, it is still unclear as to what caused this exchange between the two nations. When a more complete picture can be formed, you can be sure to find that information here before anywhere else at the Gold Standard Broadcasting Network. In other news, gun rights activists have continued their protests in Washington, D.C. over the recently passed Common Sense Gun Reform Bill. The NRA has voiced its clear disapproval of what it deems to be a clear infringement on Second Amendment rights. But most legal scholars seem to agree that the bill is indeed constitutional. One of the most vocal opponents of this bill has also recently gotten into more trouble on social media over a prediction he has recently made. Walton Dest is an infamous religious cult leader based in Utah, and he has recently claimed that he had a vision from God. And according to Dest, the day of reckoning will soon be upon us. Critically acclaimed neurologist and philosopher Sam Harris has recently commented on Dest's prediction by pointing out that the cult leader has often gotten his predictions wrong. Echoing the same sentiment, Dr. William Lane Craig, who is a highly regarded Christian apologist and theologian, has also continued his criticism of the cult leader by labeling him as a false prophet. Many pundits believe this is merely yet another means to distract the public from Dest's legal woes, as he is still in the process of fighting many legal battles regarding.
That's right, with 10 easy payments of $10.99, you can say goodbye to your erectile dysfunction and say hello to a reinvigorated sex life. Stop being the beta cuck and be the alpha you were meant to be with the wood pill. Anyways, with that shitty advertisement out of the way, which by the way I do not need, I just want to share a fact with all y'all. Maybe you folks can guess it. Hear me out on this. You want to know what really pisses me off? Think about it. There's this little dipshit named Walton Dest who keeps associating himself with the Second Amendment rights movement. And this little bitch keeps making it harder for us to secure our God-given right to own lead. Not only is he being sued by everyone and their fucking fat mother, but he's also always making silly little predictions. Little predictions that are always wrong. The man has predicted the last 10 apocalypses, and we're all still fucking here. He's 0-10. He's got a worse record than LeBron in the fucking NBA Finals. And now that number's about to be up to 11. Check it. He says, verbatim, that there is no more room left in hell. And apparently that means that the dead will somehow walk the earth or some shit. Now, I'm not a perfect Christian, but I think God wouldn't be stupid enough to make hell come with an occupancy limit. This boy right here is one stupid son of a bitch. And he just needs to go the fuck away. With that said, I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts about this. Cletus, let's get to the call line.
This is the Israeli District Police. How may we assist you?
Please send help! There are people trying to break into my home!
Okay. Please remain calm, ma'am. Can we please get your address?
Away from the windows! I'm at... Please, hurry! I'm alone with my children and my husband is missing!
Okay, hold on. We're sending help. How many people are attempting to break
Oh
into
my
your
god!
home?
They're inside! Hezbollah!
This just in, we are now receiving reports of sporadic violence breaking out in the city of Jerusalem. Medical officials in the city are also reporting that victims of this spontaneous eruption of violence have been afflicted with bite wounds, scratches, and lacerations. The official death count is still unknown, and we currently do not know what the motivation behind these violent protests are. Most notably, the terrorist organizations of Hamas and Hezbollah have yet to take credit for these attacks. That being said, experts believe that these assaults are actually not politically motivated. Now, what we do know is that law enforcement in the city has been working overtime to bring order to chaos. But despite all of this, city officials are still calling for the Israeli Defense Force to be deployed. Stay tuned to get more information as this incident develops. In other news, a recent study just published by Harvard shows a direct link between right-wing political thought.
Jerem Birashaliam, Ana Hisheru Regulum Vehikadna Niyad Lamiklet Hakarov Theater, Havi Rakat Mashadam Sircham, Iminchim Yechalam Lahaja Bevidichin Lamiklet Hakarov, Ana Nealu at Dilatachim Vehik Vidulizgar at Hachalanit, Sol Nifras Letapal Beaya.
We are now just getting reports of sporadic violence erupting across the Middle East and Europe. Reports indicate that the cities of Paris, Berlin, London, Madrid, and even Rome are now being affected by this unexplained wave of civil unrest. As of now, experts are puzzled as to what is causing these violent protests. Israeli officials have also confirmed that the violence in Jerusalem is not politically motivated. The city of Tel Aviv has also seen similar problems with the addition of widespread reports of missing persons throughout the nation coming to light. The Harris administration has called for an end to violence while also offering thoughts and prayers to those affected in Israel. The DeSantis campaign has also released a similar statement echoing the sentiments of the president. Now we take you to our correspondent in Jerusalem, Theo Hunt.
Are we live? Yeah. So we're unfortunately unable to provide you all with a live feed because our camera crew got lost in the chaos of a flash mob. I'm currently here with one of our producers who got lacerated by one of the crazed individuals protesting, whatever it is they're protesting. And we're basically barricaded inside a small local barbershop with metal shutters being the only thing that separate us from the persistently ravenous mob outside. They basically chased us away from our initial filming location, and you should have seen it. These people, their eyes, they were like a crimson red. Blood all over their clothing. They snarled animalistically in an almost inhumane manner. It's unlike anything I've ever seen or heard.
So, Theo, could you shed a light on whether or not these protests are isolated or connected in any way across the city?
Yeah, from what I can tell, these protests literally have no conceivable or rational motivation behind them, aside from just a rabid display of barbaric rage. They're occurring randomly across the city, yet they're all identical in the sorts of violence we're seeing. Again, it's unlike anything I've ever seen. I've just watched some of these people charge into gunfire from the IDF forces, totally unfazed by the imminent threat to their own lives. There's really, truly nothing like it. We are seeing chaos on an almost biblical scale. With no signs of these protests slowing down, my advice to you all is to get out whilst you still can.
Thanks, Theo. Please take care. We'll be following up with you at the top of the hour.
Y'all see what's been going on down in Israel? Shit, it ain't just the Jews going through this madness. We've got Muslim protesting in France, Germany, British land, Spanish land, even where they make pizza in Europe. But what's that shit called? Italy? Yeah, they got that shit going. There's shit going on in Italy right now. And you know what? I've even got a buddy of mine in fucking Russia, of all places, who's telling me that there's issues going on there as well. Now, do I have any idea what's truly going on with these riots? Honestly, no. But what I can say is that I do have the fucking solution. You see, if these fuckers decide to start shit here in the land of the free, us Second Amendment people can and should take care of them. So I'd urge all of you folks listening right now to get armed before shit hits the fan.
Damn stupid.
Man, shut the fuck up, Cletus, you fat bald-headed fuck.
The following is not a test. The City of New York is under an indefinite mandatory curfew by order of the state governor, effective immediately. no persons within the city limits of Manhattan are to be outside after the hours of 1600 hours, nor before 1200 hours. Public spaces are shut down and non-essential businesses are not to be operational. Essential businesses will be allowed to remain open within the allotted time period. Visit the state government website at www.ny.gov for further information on what is categorized as an essential business. Any persons or business entities violating the imposed curfew will be incarcerated and prosecuted to the highest extent of the law.
This just in, we're now getting reports from New York City, Philadelphia, Los Angeles, Las Vegas, Houston, San Francisco, and Seattle, all confirming the outbreak of violent riots. These protests have been going on for quite some time, starting early this morning, and to be frank, getting this information to all of you has been difficult, so we here at the Gold Standard Broadcasting Network apologize to you, the viewer. That said, these riots all occurred early in the morning and are still currently ongoing as we speak. Public health officials and hospital staff have confirmed to us that medical facilities are being overrun by victims of violence. These people are suffering from bite wounds, scratches, lacerations, broken limbs, and even in some cases, dismembered limbs. The governors of New York and Texas have both taken proactive steps to end the violence by deploying their respective state National Guards to affected areas. The cities of Manhattan and Houston are also now under a temporary curfew. Meanwhile, the governors of Pennsylvania, Nevada, California, and Washington have expressed their faith in local officials to manage the local protests. We've also been informed that the World Health Organization and the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention have sent GEARS teams and global rapid response teams to affected areas in order to ascertain if the recent outburst of violence across the globe is due to some type of viral pathogen. When we get more information on this developing crisis, we'll be sure to update you as soon as possible.
And now, a message from our esteemed leader, the prophet and messenger of God, Walton Dest.
Good morning, my fellow brothers and sisters in Christ. I come to all of you with a heavy heart, for what has been foretold is now coming into fruition. The time is now upon us all to repent, for the end times are here. It's real, and it's really upon us right as we speak. There is no longer any room left in hell, and now the dead and Satan's demons are walking the earth. Humanity has finally come to reap what it has sown. Men having sex with men, women with women, babies being murdered in the womb, and children having their genitalia mutilated. But fear not, for the kingdom of God shall soon be upon us. Just as Christ endured agony to provide us with salvation, so must we endure this time of tribulation. Though we walk through the valley of the shadow of death, we shall fear no evil. For thou art with us, thy rod and thy staff, and, most importantly, for thy will be said, thy will be done. God bless all of you. Now go out onto the world to love and serve the Lord. Amen.
Reports are now coming in from Israel attesting to the fact that Jerusalem has experienced a major power outage. The city appears to be in total ruin, and we've lost contact with all of our local correspondents in the municipality. And with the situation worsening here in the States, President Harris has abruptly suspended her campaign to return to Washington, D.C. Our experts and insider informants suggest that this may have something to do with continuity of government readiness condition procedures. The DeSantis campaign, on the other hand, just suspended their operations after a violent mob attacked a DeSantis campaign rally in Miami, Florida. The former Florida governor is reportedly safe and unscathed. but members of his Secret Service detail were allegedly injured in the mayhem. More on this story as events develop. In other news, the embattled cult leader, Walton Dest, has recently announced his...
Yeah, New York being under curfew is kind of fucking insane. Totally agree with you, Edward. Thanks for calling the show. By the way, Cletus, you hear that message published by Walton Dest the other day about the end of the world or some shit?
Yeah, I heard about that, and it's a good thing I got all my guns ready just in case things start going south. But
Damn Skippy, this man knows what's up.
I didn't think we could get much further south than we are right now, though. I'm gonna be honest with you.
It seems like it's getting more further south. I mean, it's like falling off the tip of Florida south. That's how south we're talking about right now.
Well, there ain't nothing but ocean there. How'd it gonna get any further?
I don't know. I just know that's where you go to fucking drown, Cletus.
I don't want to drown.
I don't want to fucking drown either, but you know what I heard on the news is they say that the CDC and the WHO have managed to get their hands on the blood samples from victims from those violent riots caused by the Muslims, and we got dudes out here saying that people are suffering from like rabies-like symptoms or some shit. I guess that explains their inclination towards unnecessary violence. Perhaps this is just super COVID Rona Death 9000. But I'm not convinced it's some, voodoo, hocus pocus, supernatural bullshit. But how do you feel about it, bro?
I don't know nothing about that. I just know that unnecessary violence better not come to my house. I got about 10 guns sitting here on the front porch alone waiting on them.
Yeah, you and survivors, trespassers will be shot. Survivors will be shot again.
Till I run out of ammo, at least.
That's a lot of ammo.
This just in, the World Health Organization, in conjunction with the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, have confirmed that the violence seen across the globe is, in fact, the direct result of a novel viral pathogen. Public health officials have also commented that the world's leading virologists, epidemiologists, and immunologists are currently studying the new virus to determine exactly what it is and what it is capable of. We are being told that we can expect a report to be released as early as tomorrow, at least according to the current head of the CDC. In response to this news, Republicans and Democrats have been debating the path forward for America. Republican congressmen and women are arguing for a border shutdown and travel ban, while Democratic congressmen and women are calling for social distancing policies and a nationwide lockdown. There is currently no word from the Harris administration on these developing events. Meanwhile, the governors of New York, Texas, Nevada, Washington, Pennsylvania, California, and Florida have all declared a state of emergency. Each state has also activated their state National Guards, while the Harris administration has authorized assistance from FEMA in each state's battle to control this new contagion. Stay tuned to stay up to date with further updates on this situation.
Attention, this is not a test. Repeat, this is not a test. The following message includes crucial instructions for survivors in the city of Los Angeles, California. Responsible for the civil unrest in the city of Los Angeles. Infected individuals will exhibit similar symptoms to that of the flu shortly before dying and reanimating. Once reanimated, individuals will have crimson red eyes and will act with hostility towards any living person around them. Do not engage or interact with the reanimated. If you or someone you know knows that someone is infected, please quarantine them in a secure room. Ensure that all exit and entry points to the room are secure. Please self-quarantine. The California State National Guard has managed to form an effective defensive perimeter around Long Beach. In collaboration with FEMA, the State National Guard will now be conducting rescue missions of survivors stranded within the Los Angeles metropolitan area. Please download the Rescue Me app on your mobile phone or visit the State of California's official website to access this critical tool. Report your location and health status on the application. Once your identity is verified, you will be scheduled for exfiltration out of Los Angeles. Until your scheduled date arrives, you must remain in your homes or shelters with all doors and windows being locked and secured. It is not safe to travel within the city of Los Angeles. Failure to comply with these instructions will result in injury, infection, and/or death. When the time comes to be evacuated, only bring one luggage bag. Ensure that you only pack essential items. Please stay where you are and remain calm. Rescue is on the way.
Esta alerta no es una prueba. This alert is not a test. La Guardia Civil no ha logrado poner en cuarentena la ciudad de Madrid. The Civil Guard has failed to quarantine the city of Madrid. Individuos infectados que Mortus 2028 están escapando de la ciudad y dirigiéndose hacia los municipios circundantes. Infected individuals suffering from the XK Rheomatus Mortus 2028 virus are now escaping the city and heading to the surrounding municipalities. En respuesta a este desastre, la Guardia Civil y las Fuerzas Armadas españolas establecerán una cuarentena en el distrito administrativo de la Comunidad de Madrid. In response to the disaster, the Civil Guard and Spanish Armed Forces will be quarantining the Community of Madrid Administrative District. La zona de cuarentena Madrid a los distritos de of access from the Community of Madrid through the districts of Castilla-La Mancha and Castile en León. Por favor, no intenten viajar hacia o desde este distrito. Cualquier persona que infrinja este mandato de salud en el acto. Please make no attempt to travel to or from this district. Any person who breaks this public health mandate will be terminated on the spot. Las operaciones de rescate dentro de la zona de cuarentena sea establecida y asegurada con éxito. Rescue operations within the quarantine zone will commence once the new quarantine zone is successfully established and secure.
This is an urgent public service message.
Please pay attention.
This is not a test.
The state of New South Wales is now under military quarantine.
The city of Sydney has been lost to the novel XK Reanimatus
Mortus 2028 virus.
Cases have been reported in all coastal cities,
but are currently under control.
Please do not make any attempt to break the quarantine
of New South Wales.
Please do not attempt to visit any other coastal city.
Failure to comply with this public mandate may result in serious injury,
infection, and or death.
For further details on local procedures,
please contact your local authorities.
Porwa Kanrandi Warimisan. Nankoku wa Genzai Hui Masu. Timateki Nakarimizanarusu, XKRI Nimatasu Morishusu 2028, Wa, Taukyu Ken, Nagoya Ken, Isaka Ken Wokametsu Sasemashida. Karera no Tashi Nai Ikanai de Kudasai, Inachi wo Atashimasu. Kitamata wa Manami Inuka Kudasai. Jiatai wa Kanmanbashi to Fukushima Nai Buerain wo Tenkai Shidamasu. Mashi Kansen Shiteru Bai wa, Shiman Tashite no Gimu wo Hitashi, Mizukara Nachi wo Tat Kudasai. Kansensha wo Shiteru Bai wa, Gimu wo Hitashi, Guerrera wo Hiho Shite Kudasai. Kaiuja wa Kimasan. Shikashi, Anataga Ikubiki Ans na Basho ga Aramasu. Taiyu wa Futatabi Nyan Nine Aboru Deshu.
This just in, the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention have released their bulletin report outlining exactly how the novel XK Reanimatus Mortus 2028 virus works. Here is the condensed report released to media outlets, all for public consumption. We urge you to pay close attention and to take notes if possible.
The following debrief has been declassified for public consumption. The urgent information contained within this report is hereby deemed to be of the utmost importance to public health needs and priorities. Please listen carefully and share the following with family, friends, and associates. The XK reanimatus mortis 2028 virus is a pathogen unlike any other in the history of mankind. There is still plenty that we do not know about this contagion, but what we do know is the following. The infection process begins by the injection of infected bodily fluids into a non-infected host. The most common method of viral transfer is through bite wounds. Other known causes are deep lacerations and exposure to large quantities of infected blood. The XK reanimatus has been observed to survive in liquids indefinitely, although boiling these liquids or applying bleach or common household cleaning chemicals kills the virus. Once inside a host's body, the virus cannot be terminated, at least not with our current medical technology. During the incubation phase, the virus replicates within the host and spreads to the brain stem within 1 to 48 hours, depending on the severity and location of the initial infection. Infected persons who incubate the virus can infect others via bodily fluids. This makes them asymptomatic carriers during this stage of infection. Once incubation is completed, the host then begins to experience difficulty with breathing and digestion. They begin to experience irregular heart rates, nausea, and extreme fevers are commonplace. These symptoms are experienced for 1 to 3 hours before the virus begins to spread within the host's brain. As the virus enters the cerebellum, the respiratory centers, pituitary gland, temporal lobe, occipital lobe, frontal lobe, cerebral cortex, and parietal lobe, the host begins to have extreme problems breathing, suffers hallucinations, excessive salivation, failing motor functions, paranoia, and both vomiting and profuse defecation or diarrhea. Within 1 to 26 hours after stage 4, the host will enter a coma. The coma lasts for about 1 hour to 3 days. In some cases, the coma lasts less than an hour. Eventually, the coma results in the death of the infected host. The current mortality rate of this virus is 100%. There is no hope of survival once a person is afflicted by this contagion. Minutes after death, the host seemingly reanimates. Then they begin to attack any human nearby in a violent manner, either to consume or spread the virus. The irises will go black and the sclera will be blood red. It is not advised that one engages with the reanimated infected. If you know someone who is infected, quarantine them in a locked room and barricade the door and any windows or exterior exit points. If quarantining is not an option, you will have to terminate the infected individual yourself. If you are infected, please self-quarantine. You will die. You will come back, and you will spread the disease to others. You have a civic duty to self-quarantine or self-terminate. When terminating an infected individual, whether reanimated or in a coma, you must destroy the brain. Reanimated individuals are seemingly immune to all forms of bodily damage. Reanimated individuals also seem to have zero need for water or food. There also appears to be no decomposition despite the presence of dead flesh. Stay connected to any news media for further updates or visit the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's official government website for further information and updates.
We apologize for the poor quality of the CDC's press release. It appears to be that they are currently struggling with technical difficulties. That said, on the screen right now is a map of every state with reported cases of the XK 2028 virus. Yellow states are areas where reported missing persons exist and where cases of random violence have been reported. These states have yet to confirm the presence of the virus within their borders. Gray states, on the other hand, have no reported cases of social unrest or large quantities of missing persons. In other news, the nation of Israel has declared a state of emergency. All major cities in the small country have been swamped by infected individuals. The United States has also lost contact with embassies in Paris, London, Berlin, Madrid, and Rome. The Middle Eastern nations of Iran, Iraq, Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Saudi Arabia have also reported cases of the virus, with many major cities going dark. We also have reports from Russia, China, India, Japan, and South Korea, all confirming the widespread existence of the virus, with all nations thus mentioned at the brink of collapse, with the exception of the United States. When we look to... Wait a minute. So this just in, we now have confirmation that the Harris administration has moved the president to a secure location due to sporadic violence erupting in the nation's capital. Wow, this is truly unprecedented.
Attention, this is not a test. Due to the severe nature of the XK Reanimatus Mortis 2028 virus pandemic, the federal government has authorized the establishment of martial law. Effective immediately, all persons within the jurisdiction of the United States will be under a legally enforceable curfew. No persons shall be allowed outside of their homes after 1600 hours or prior to 1200 hours. Travel beyond the United States has also been suspended indefinitely, with all ports of entry and border crossing locations having been secured by the United States Armed Forces. Failure to comply with these public mandates will result in immediate termination. Please ensure that you have 7 days' worth of supplies. Also, please ensure that you remain locked within your place of residence, with all doors and windows being securely locked and barricaded. Do not engage with infected individuals, and please adhere to published CDC guidelines. Rescue is on the way. Please check with your local authorities for further details on available evacuation zones and scheduled evacuation appointments.
Ladies and gentlemen, shit has officially hit the fucking fan at fucking terminal velocity. Now, for those of you wondering, I'm currently on the road, so I apologize for the shit quality audio. I'm literally recording this show with my phone now, because I'm no longer in the studio. But I am headed to my pre-prepared cabin in the middle of Buttfuckistan. So, again, I apologize if this will be a short episode. It's kind of hard to record and drive at the same time. But, I've got my family in the back of the RV. And Cletus, bless his heart, I have no clue what happened to him. I lost contact with my friend, with that motherfucker, when our town was seemingly invaded by refugees and the infected lame brains that came along with them. If you're hearing this, Cletus, you know exactly where to find me. You and your family are welcome to stay with us. Godspeed, you stupid son of a bitch. With that said, I can't really get the call line up and running while I'm driving, so you guys are gonna just have to deal with me for now.
Hotel 6, this is Victor 1-3 requesting immediate evac at Point Charlie. How copy, over?
Victor 1-3, Hotel 6, how critical is the situation? How copy, over?
Hotel 6, Victor 1-3, it's bad. Zach is breaking through barricades and we are red on personnel and ammo. Friendly civilians are using arms from KIA personnel. How copy, over?
Victor 1-3, Hotel 6, we can get you what we can, but resources are stretched thin. How copy, over?
Hotel 6, Victor 1-3, solid copy, sir. We might not be able to hold out much longer, but we'll do our best to give them help. Out.
Hotel 6, Victor 1-3, send update on your situation. How copy, over? Hotel 6, Victor 1-3, send update on your situation. How copy, over? Hotel 6, Victor 6-5, send update on your situation. How copy, over?
Hello? Hello? Send help! Send help! Send help! Please! Please, we're hanging by a thread here!
Don't worry, ma'am. Help's on the way.
How long?
About 5 minutes, ma'am.
As the novel XK 2028 virus continues to rampage across the continental United States, cases of the virus are now being reported throughout the nation of Canada. This is likely the result of mass immigration from the United States, whereby people are seeking safety up north. On social media, people have been spreading misinformation which claims that the undead will freeze in cold temperatures. This has been thoroughly debunked by the World Health Organization, citing reported cases of the undead in Siberia, seemingly being unaffected by frigid weather conditions. In other news, the United Nations just recently held an emergency session using remote communications technology to develop an international plan to combat this new pandemic. What was discussed in that closed-door meeting has yet to be revealed to the public at large. The CDC has also released new information about the infected, outlining their behavioral tendencies. According to public health officials, the undead are attracted to loud noises, the scent of human flesh, and bright sources of light during nighttime. In layman's terms, to avoid the undead, one must focus on remaining hidden. In addition to this information, experts at the CDC and the World Health Organization have confirmed that the virus can indeed be spread by mosquitoes, primarily through the act of biting a living infected host and then spreading the tainted blood to uninfected persons. Fully reanimated individuals who are technically dead from a clinical standpoint are not being targeted by mosquitoes. With all of that being said, we can now also confirm that the east and west coast of the United States has experienced widespread blackouts. Stores nationwide are continuing to experience widespread looting as well, with highways being deemed a kill zone as roadways are jammed with fleeing refugees and the infected. In response to all of this, the U.S. Air Force has been authorized to destroy all bridges across the Mississippi River in the attempt to preserve the heartland of the country. The Harris administration also expects rural areas to be inundated with refugees and infected within the coming days and weeks. We can certainly... Hey, Barbara! What's up with the prompter? Barb, I need those fatality figures right fucking now. Jesus. I'm sorry for that outburst.
So, we finally made it to our little oasis here in the mountains, and, I gotta say, I outright almost fucking died on the way here multiple times. Those fuckers are fast. They're resilient. Getting a headshot isn't easy when you're shooting at a crazy, undead crackhead with no fucking rhythm. Honestly, the best bet was just to slow him down. I shot one of those fuckers in the damn torso with a slug round. Left a baseball-sized hole in his sternum, and he barely slowed down. I had to shoot him in the leg, pop his kneecaps off with some lead just to slow him down, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how I feel about this, honestly. The RV's basically wrecked. I mean, it barely made it here. And there's no way I can defend this hidden property on my own if a crowd of people come here or if a horde gets here. And you know what? I haven't even heard from my best mate Cletus yet. What kind of world is even going to be left for my daughter? Fuck. But there's no time to worry about that shit. I gotta take care of my own. I hate to say this, but this will be the final episode of the podcast. I just can't afford to have some tech-savvy bitch find out my location. Hell, I'm surprised I even have a signal out here for live streaming. I reckon that will be changing in the coming days. Anyways, I hope you folks take care of yourself, because, this ain't gonna be over quick. Life is short. You should tell your loved ones that you love them, because you might not have a lot of time left with them.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've just been informed that this will be our final broadcast, so please pay attention. We just uncovered a leaked memo from the CDC detailing a report that has estimated a horrifyingly grim figure. According to this report, experts expect that 90% of the human population will die in the coming months due to this new contagion. We also have reports of multiple nuclear weapons being detonated on the Russian border, but we couldn't confirm the reason for these detonations as the Russian governments and all of NATO governments have pretty much shut off all forms of communications with news outlets like ours. And with Washington, D.C. being completely overrun, we have leaked memos asserting that the U.S. government is being relocated to uninhabited islands in Hawaii and also to the remote military facility in Fairbanks, Alaska. We are, unfortunately, unable to adjudicate these reports and claims. Even more horrifying is the fact that the Mississippi blockade, attempted by the U.S. military, has seemingly failed. Million-strong hordes of the undead have been spotted from the air, all racing across the Midwest. Our current estimate for global fatalities sits at roughly 3 billion people dead. Just about every state in the Union now has confirmed cases of the virus, with all remaining states having reports of missing persons and sporadic violence. I wish I could leave you all with some positive news, but all I can say is that it has been the honor of my life to serve you here on the Gold Standard Broadcasting Network. Godspeed. And, Cassandra, I'm coming home.
Attention, this is not a test. Effective immediately, the U.S. federal government has enacted COG-CON Level 1 procedures. As a result of this government action, the federal government has been relocated to a secure location. The U.S. federal government will reorganize and plan the eventual recapture of the homeland from a classified location. Until further notice, the U.S. federal government and the U.S. Armed Forces have ceded their jurisdiction over the continental United States and its respective overseas territories. All American citizens are now on their own. Rescue is not coming. This is being done for the greater good of all mankind. This will be the final broadcast of the National Emergency Alert System, and it will remain on loop for the foreseeable future. Good luck.
Okay, here we go again. For those of you listening, if there's anyone listening, I am now on day 28 of survival, and we've had to turn a few boats away. And odds are, if you're thinking of coming to Pitcairn Island, you won't be allowed on shore. A small platoon or regiment or whatever of American and British sailors have pretty much taken over the island. They're honestly very nice people, but they understand there's not enough resources here to sustain refugees. The horror stories they've shared with us, I can't possibly begin to imagine what some of you might be going through. Anyways, the closest island to ours is apparently infested with the undead. Yeah, Adamstown is sort of fucked, but if you need a place to keep you and your loved ones safe, I would recommend the island of Pascua. The military guys here aren't interested in hunting down refugees, they just don't want people coming here. There's no infrastructure on that island though, so if you're thinking about heading there, you better already know how to survive in the wild, which I can't even. We're struggling here already. But I'm sure it beats dealing with whatever is going on with the mainland. Anyways, I'll be back tomorrow at noon, as usual. It would be nice to hear from someone. Okay, well, bye.